podcast.
Well, thank you for letting me be on here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So far, I think between us here, I think it's been seeming to gain quite some good traction here so far. What do you think?
Yeah, like I told you earlier, I think it's going to end up being big.
Yeah, I got a lot of people so far that want to be on it, and people are giving a lot of good feedback as well, saying I'm a good host. I invite good people. We ask good questions. So it seems like this might really help all of us out in the future.
Yes, I agree. I wish that I would have had a chance to do this when I first started out. Because when I first started out in this industry, I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. And I paid greatly for that mistake.
Can you explain that so it helps the viewers? Like, what did you do that somebody else shouldn't do?
Okay. Well, let me give you a little bit of background on myself so you know where I'm coming from. I was told I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always had a love for the written word.
Right.
A book to me, I'm like a dragon. Shiny things, no, it's books for me.
Okay.
I taught myself how to read and write basically through forcing myself to learn how to read, because we didn't find out that I had dyslexia until I was in 12th grade.
Okay.
And growing up, I always wanted to write, and I was told I would never make it because of my disabilities. So I gave up on that dream, and I started working with the mentally handicapped in that field, in the health field. And about 9 years ago, I got severely injured and was told I could never work in that field again. And I went down a very, very dark path. Because,
Oh,
I was
so
in my 30s and told I could never work again.
right.
So one day my husband was cleaning out my closet in my craft room, and he come across my folders of, my short stories and stuff. And he goes, "What is this?" I said, "Oh, that's just something I played with, in high school and college." And he goes, what is it? I said, "It's just short stories." He goes, "You write?" I said, "Yeah." By this time, my husband and I have been married over 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he goes, "Right." And he dropped the folder in my lap. He goes, "Start writing again." I said, "It'll never go nowhere." He told my sister, and he told his mother, and it just spiraled from there. And then I just had people, you were happy writing, just write. So I started writing, and believe it or not, the Aadya's Curse, the Sisters of Aadya trilogy that I'm working on, started out as a college creative writing short story.
Right. Okay.
And I ended up not knowing what I was doing, and I went with a vanity publisher. I'm not going to say names or what it was or anything like that, but new authors coming into this business don't know how people can take advantage of them very badly. I didn't know that, a publisher does not charge you to publish your books. I did not know that there was a difference between traditional publishing and self-publishing.
Self-publishing. Right.
Yes. So I went with the company, and they charged me over $5,000 per book to publish. They promised me to help me get followers and being bookstores and stuff like this. And
Mm-hmm.
my first book, it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. They said they were going to set me up with a writing coach to help me get it into the structure that it needed to be in, and it didn't happen. So my first book got published. Oh, tell you the truth, it was written by a high schooler, because I
Right.
didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And then they pressured me into publishing my second book, which is the second book. Well, I ended up going back to college and taking some different courses and learning different things. And one of my professors is a self-published author. He goes, "Why didn't you self-publish?" I was like, "What is self-publishing?"
Oh, wow.
And then that's when he explained. He goes, "Who are you with?" And I explained it to who I was with. He goes, "No, you need to research them. You need to get out. Get out now."
Okay.
And so I'm like, "Well, they're in the middle of getting ready to publish my second book." He goes, "You're going to have some time. You may have to pay to get your book out of there." I said, "I've already paid them over $10,000 for both books now."
Mm-hmm.
So I was at defeat. I almost quit writing.
Right.
And I met some wonderful people. They own the company Twisted Wolf Graphics. And she asked me my story, and I told her. She goes, well, we're going to give you a brand new start. She goes, I want you to fight for the rights for your back of your books. She goes, we're going to redo the covers. You're going to do a rewrite. You're going to add scenes. This is what you're going to do to format it. You're going to do it all yourself. So that's what I did. And
Okay.
Savannah McCann with Twisted Whip Graphics is absolutely amazing. She's been there with me every step of the way. She's wonderful to her clients. And now, because of me getting my fresh start, I have over 4,000 followers on my TikTok account now.
There you
I
go.
now just hit 1K on my Facebook page. And my new group, the Authors and Readers Book Talk,
Yes.
believe it or not, I just started that 3 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So, for the first time, yeah, I know I wrote a good book. Your family tells you, but when the reviews are coming in and they're steadily coming in 5 stars and you're like, okay, maybe I can do this.
Well, it's almost like that situation where, let's say somebody says they seen a ghost in a room, okay? One guy seen it. You had 10 other people in the room. All 11 people say it? It's got to be true. You got to base it off of something like that. So,
Right.
first off, you got to believe in yourself, right?
Yes. And my second book in the trilogy during Black Friday hit spot 3 on the bestsellers list on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like everything has been snowballing from there. I mean, I've gotten people saying, I just binge read your both books. When is the third one coming out? Which the third one is releasing on Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yes. And because I've gotten so much confidence, I'm actually picking up a second pen name. My first book releasing under my new pen name will be in 2023. I'll be writing BDSM erotica.
Okay.
So
if you don't mind me asking, because I don't want to lose any key points here. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. But why do you use pen names and why are you using multiple? Is there a reason for this?
Yes. Like I said,
is that like a safety thing?
It was when it first started out. I didn't want people to know who I was because of the ridicule I got growing up. I mean, it wasn't just people I didn't know. It was actually family members telling me that I would never make it as an author because of my disabilities. And
that's terrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, it took my dream and
I have a daughter that's disabled, and I hope nobody ever treats her like that.
Oh, tell her to go for her dreams. The only one that stop her is herself.
That's
right.
And
I've learned that. And I want to help other people. Eventually, I want to get my YouTube channel up and running. I want to be able to help others with disabilities, let them know that they can go after whatever they want.
That's right.
So, but yeah, the reason why the pen names now is one, my mother has passed away and she used to call me Leigh.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So, keeping Leigh and with my last name, it's something special to me. And I decided to go ahead and write under a different pen name for my BDSM because I am a full life submissive and the pen name that I'm using is what my dom calls me. So that's the reason. And that way it also keeps my dark fantasy and the erotica separate. Even though I'm the same person, it keeps them separate.
That's pretty cool. That's a good idea, actually, because different genre, different name, totally different persona, basically.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Do you have a specific author that you like to follow, that you put your style like, or?
My absolute two favorite authors is Nora Roberts and Jennifer Armentrout.
You said Nora Roberts?
Yes.
Is she more mainstream or?
Yeah, she is a very, very big author.
I believe I heard the name Nora, but I don't know if it was Roberts.
Yeah, she's also known as JD Robb.
Really?
And yeah, under JD Robb, she does an awesome sci-fi crime type thing in the future.
Okay.
And under her Nora Roberts, she does romance, paranormal romance, stuff like that. And Jennifer Armentrout does more young adult to adult paranormal romance. So I'm somewhere in between there.
That's where I'm at right there. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of writing something right now completely different from the genre that I normally do, but it's more on the lines of that.
Yeah. See, it's just fun. Creating a whole new world to where you can escape. You know, I originally started for me to escape, but now everybody goes, how do you write a book? How can you keep up? I said, put it this way. Once I gave those characters life, all I'm doing is I'm writing the incident report these stupid ass people are doing.
That's right.
So.
That's it. Right. Makes sense. How do you go about character development? Is that something that you base on like people you know, or maybe a hybrid thing? Maybe you make some of it up completely, or is there anything that's going on like that?
It's a hybrid.
Okay.
It's a hybrid. So, I mean, the first 3 books are based off me and my 2 best friends growing up, because that's how the story started.
So it's a nonfiction then, some of it?
Just their attitudes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Are you an author full time now? Or do you have a completely separate job? Is that something you aspire to do?
No, I am a full-time author.
That is fabulous. You see, this is one of the reasons I started the podcast, because I aspire to do that eventually. Right now I'm a printer and I'm in college for healthcare to work as a healthcare administrator at a hospital, because that's what I've always wanted to do, is work with kids that are like my daughter. Mm-hmm. But now that with all these diseases coming out and everything, you never know what you're going to catch. And I found out I have lupus myself, actually, just this past year. And I'm trying to stay healthy, so I don't really want to work in that environment anymore. So that being said, that's why I started writing personally. And if somebody like you seem pretty well established, can help everybody else watch this video, be like, hey, this is how I did it. You know what I mean? There's where I'm going with the videos.
Yes. See, and that's one thing I will speak it over and over again. Self-publish, self-publish, self-publish. You are in control of 100% of everything that happens in self-publishing. Yeah. Yes, I understand there is benefits of traditional publishing, but I am the biggest fan of self-publish.
That's good. That's good. I'm sorry, go ahead.
With that, a lot of people say, well, self-publish, you're only allowed to be on Amazon, you're only allowed to do this. Well, actually, I just found out recently that my books can be found in Barnes & Nobles. They can be found in Books A Million. Self-publishing.
My book's on Barnes & Noble, and I'm self-published.
Yeah.
Yep. Can you give me a little info? I mean, not too much. I'm not trying to pry here, but you seem like a very well-written writer here. Is there any book that you like that you have going on right now better than all the others you think is going to be more successful?
My first standalone. I have a feeling my first standalone is going to be, I should say, my breakthrough debut novel.
Okay. And do you have a reason for that?
It is going because it's more of now what's going on. It's a wolf shifter / biker book.
What is a wolf shifter?
It is the difference between wolf shifters and werewolves is wolf shifters have the ability to control their shift. Werewolves have no choice under the full moon.
Is this something that like the general public would know, or is this something you created yourself?
Oh, it's general knowledge.
Okay, because I've never heard of a wolf shifter before. I mean, I've heard of werewolves, obviously, but
right.
That's actually like pretty cool.
Other shifter you'd have like in my trilogy, I have dragon shifters. I also have tiger shifters. It's just that's one of their special magical abilities is they're able to transform into that animal.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Do you have a favorite character, like out of everything you've ever written, one character that you would select and say, this is the best character I've ever written, and why would you pick that one?
The best character I ever written is in my Princesses of Aadya trilogy. And it's actually a tie. It would have to be my little
a tough question, isn't it?
Dragon. It'd have to be my little woodland dragon Jazz or my black phoenix Malik.
Okay.
Malik has my heart because his life was taken from him way too soon.
Oh.
But
does he come back as a spirit, or is that something you don't want to let go of information-wise?
Well, put it this way, because he does what he needs to do to help his sisters, he is granted a very beautiful gift from the Greek gods. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
So
that's very interesting. Now I got to figure this thing out here. Right?
It's interesting.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about writing? Is it the fact that it gets you into that other world, like basically like your fantasy, wherever you want to be mentally?
I'm free. I can, when I write, I can. Okay, let me rephrase that a little bit better. When I write, I can get away from the everyday stress, of the oh crap, rent's coming up. In my fantasy world, there is no rent. There is no utilities that's got to be paid. There's no a crisis in a family. There's nothing. It's just me and my characters and creating my world.
Okay.
And the way I've set up my first trilogy, it sets up a world for all the rest of my paranormal romances.
Okay, so like it leaves it open to move on from that. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Perfect. That's essentially what you want to do, even if you don't plan on moving on from that and you're just going to leave it. Always leave that door open just in case you need something to go to in the future. That's what I plan to do with my ratings anyways.
Yes. It makes it a lot easier. That way, with each book, you're not having to create a brand new world.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep the door open, you can pull a little bit of that original world that you worked so hard to first create and pull out.
With that being said, I'm going to roll in the question that, have you ever used a character in more than one book? And is it always in the same genre, or do you just change it up a little bit?
Well, considering I just have the first trilogy that's coming out, yes.
No, I mean, aside from a trilogy, because of course the same characters are going to be in the trilogy. Are you going to take any of them and put them in a different book?
Yes, you will meet the characters from my first books throughout the rest of my paranormal books.
Right.
So
I think that's a very cool idea. That's the reason I asked that.
Especially the princesses, because they become the queens of Aadya. So
okay.
So yeah, you will meet different characters in and out throughout all of the different books.
Okay.
Especially when I write my next trilogy, it'll be my Siren series.
Okay.
So,
do you ever get writer's block? And if you do, how do you overcome it?
Oh, writer's block. My worst hated friend. Writer's block. My husband says I have got the weirdest way to get over writer's block because I'm not a traditional writer. A lot of people say, well, to write your book, you need to write an outline. I can't.
You can't. I don't write outlines.
What I use?
I'll be honest with you. So the viewers see this. I'm the host of the show. I started the show, right? So everybody's going to think I have some, oh, this guy knows that. You know what I mean? No, I'm not. I don't even really know what an outline is. What does an outline do and what's its purpose? Just to write basically what you want it to be?
An outline is the best thing to give you writer's block. Because once the outline is done, to me, it makes you think, okay, well, I have to follow this outline. I can't stray from it. No, with me not having an outline, I can go anywhere.
Okay.
My first book transformed 5 different times before it became what it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that through editors or just through yourself?
Through myself.
Okay.
Because I was like, okay, this is beginning, this is the middle, this is the end, and I just got to fill in the center. Well, by the time I got to the middle, it went completely left field, and it wasn't the middle that I wanted anymore. So then I had to steer it back. And like I said, an outline does not help me because I'm all over the place. How I get over writer's block, I put my ideas, even if it's just one word, or if I need a battle scene, or if I need a love scene, or if I need this, Post-it notes.
Oh, wow.
And then when I take care of that idea, I take the Post-it note off the wall.
That's really cool. And do you see why this podcast is really going to help a lot of people? Because this is going to be broadcast, everybody. You know what? I'm going to do that.
Yes, because I tell you what, one of my most things I hated in any English class you learn the brainstorm tree. That don't work.
Right.
For me, it does not work.
That don't work.
I have ADD brain. It does not work.
Right.
So post-it notes. Okay. Right. Colorful post-it notes.
All right. Cool. I got a pretty interesting question here. At least I think it is, because it gives a perspective into somebody's mind, right? Do you have one specific place or chair somewhere that you have to write in, and it has to be there? You can't do it anywhere else. You got to be in that sweet spot.
Yes, it never used to be that way, but now, since I'm doing it full time, I have to do my computer chair. Of course, my computer chair is big and comfy, and
right.
I've got one of those big Hercules chairs that's oversized, so I'm just comfortable and put my feet up on the footstool, and there I go.
There you go. Okay. Do you have any friends or family members that you have proofread your stories before you send them out to be published?
Absolutely. My mother-in-law, believe it or not, is my proofreader.
Okay. Why did you pick her? Is she just a great reader, or?
She was the first one that I had enough confidence to ask. I know this is a mess. I know you're going to have to decipher a lot of crap because of my dyslexia. Will you please help me?
Okay.
And it's like I said the thank yous in the back of my first book. Thank you for riding this roller coaster with me, because I mean, in my first book, when I screwed it up, I had he, she's, and everything else. And I meant to say that, she was going to do this, and it ended up being he. And I was talking about temperance, or Bella, when she was enchanting this bag to make it enchanted, and she was packing it. I basically wrote that Bella was packing herself in the bag. So, yeah, there was a lot that needed to be deciphered. But now I've learned how to control it. And plus, my writing program that I use, I love it. Absolutely love it. My sister bought paid the subscription for it for me for my birthday.
What's the name of the writing program, if you don't mind me asking?
I use Dabble Writer.
Dabble Writer?
Yes, it is a program that is on the internet. It helps you set up scenes. If you need to scene break, you don't have enough for a chapter, but you say, like, if one of your characters is over here doing this and you're with them and that's all you have for that scene, but you don't have enough for a chapter, you can do a scene break to where you can jump over to another character, and it puts the chapter together to make it look like it's not a broken up chapter. It's like it's supposed to be there. I love it. I absolutely love Devil Writer.
That's pretty cool. Is that something you have to pay for, or?
Yes, that is a subscription, or you can just pay for it completely outright.
Okay.
Right now, because I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, so we just did the subscription for a year.
Right.
But
makes sense.
When it comes up, trust me, it'll be my definite owned list. My husband's best friend, she is one of my beta readers. She gets the story before it goes to print. Let me know.
This question, I don't mean to interrupt, but with a beta reader now, is that somebody that you allow to change the story, or just give you feedback on how they feel about the story? Is this something like, hey, I'm not feeling chapter 2, let's change this and do this with it? Is that what you mean by beta reader?
Beta readers are not allowed to. Okay, let me make this forewarned. Nobody is allowed to change your story at all. They can give you suggestions, but no one is allowed to take away your author voice. Don't ever let anybody take away your author voice.
Right.
Because
that's the reason I was asking.
If you let them change it, it's no longer your story.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer your voice. The beta reader basically goes, okay, this is really good, but your chapter 2, it's got a little bit of holes in it. You need to fix it before it goes to print.
Okay.
That's basically what beta readers do. They are your last read before your ARC readers get it. If you choose to use ARC readers.
Okay. And what made you choose this particular person as your beta reader and believe in what they're saying to be what's right for your book?
She is an amazing person. And yeah, it doesn't matter if the truth hurts me, she will always be truthful. And
Okay.
I know
My mom's like that.
I know anything that comes out of her mouth would always be the truth.
Okay.
So if she goes, no, this is crap, it's crap. So that way.
Okay. Okay. What else? What's your favorite thing about writing? Just what it does for you emotionally? Have you ever had writing like change your day or change your outlook on life? How do you feel about all that?
Yes, it does change. Like if I could be happy 1 minute, but I'm writing a really powerful scene and I come in crying, and if I walk away from that and don't write the next scene where it starts to get better, I feel that mood the rest of my day.
Wow.
When I write, I throw my whole heart and soul into my writing.
That's actually pretty cool.
I mean, I've cried. I have got one character that every time I go to write her scene, I get so mad, even though I'm the one that's writing her. I created her. I gave her life. I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. I hate her.
Why, is she nasty?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
she's evil.
Oh, she's like your villain then, basically.
Yeah, she is my villain, yes.
Is she like your hardest thing to write then, just because you don't care for writing her particularly?
No, believe it or not, she is one of the easiest things for me to write because I think it's because I don't like her.
Okay.
Because, I don't like her, so, I just hurry up, write what I've got to do, and I move on. But,
okay. Instead of taking your time, you just want to kind of just get through it.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I don't know why, and it's become part of people's favorite part of the story. Like, oh, she's really evil. I really like her. I'm like, what? What? But yeah,
some people are into that kind of thing,
I mean, she's evil enough. One of the lines in the first book, she's telling Temperance Jade that she's going to. I wonder if it's going to fill me with joy watching the light leave your eyes, just like it did when I killed your parents. And your sister, I'm going to end up drinking your sister's blood like a fine wine. Everybody's like, that's awesome scene. I'm like, okay. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on during there. She's a pretty evil person. Yeah,
I guess so. All right. What's your hardest thing about writing? Is there anything that's particularly hard for you, and how do you overcome that? Like, is it setting, characters, both? But what's the hardest thing for you?
Setting.
Why is that? Do you think?
Because I know what's going on with the character, but I always have to remember, not only am I explaining what the character's doing, I also have to remember what's going on around the character.
Okay.
Because I'm so focused on that character and what that character's got to do, sometimes I forget to say, with their emotions, like especially with Temperance or the princesses, when they get upset, the weather changes with them. And I forget to say, like, when Temperance
like a Frozen type deal?
In the first book, when Temperance found out that she was going to have to leave Tessa, the woman that's raised her forever, and knowing that she would never see her again, she went to her room and slammed the door, and she raged and screamed and cried. And while that happened, lightning struck the ground, it was bad weather. At the first time, I forgot to explain that. And everybody's like, well, especially my beta reader, she come back and says, you need to fix this. Nobody knows what's going on besides what's going on with your character. And then I seen, after I learned to paint with words, I just have to remember, slow down because of my ADD brain. I mean, my mind, with me being ADHD, my mind's already on 1,000. It's already going. As I'm writing one scene, it's already 4 scenes ahead.
That's pretty cool.
So I have to slow down because my brain is moving faster than my fingers.
Right.
So that's the hardest thing for me.
Okay. Is how do you go about character development then with that situation going on? Is that something that's hard for you, or do you already know what these characters are going to be like?
That's the beauty thing. When I think of a story or a plot line, the characters already pop in my head. So I already know what they look like, what their attitude's going to be like, and how they're going to react.
Okay.
So I basically create the story around my character.
Okay. Well, that seems to make sense. But do you ever have a character where kind of the character creates the story for you? Like they have to go into this village to make this happen or whatever?
Yep, that's exactly what's happening in the third book right now. Because the princesses, they're acting as queens now, so they're from our realm, which they had to transfer over to their realm. So they're not used to the way that things go over there. So the world is being created around them this time.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense. What advice do you have to give to young authors that are just coming up as something that you wish you knew at that time when you were 12, 13, just starting out writing?
My best advice is don't give up. Put pen to paper, put fingers to keyboard. It's rough. It's a hard industry to break out in.
Oh, absolutely.
But once you get into that foothold, and you know what? If you want to start writing at the beginning and think you're going to make millions, you're not. It's going to take time to build your fan base. It takes time. I got into this not to make money. I got into it because I wanted to see the joy that my story brings to other people.
Right.
So just don't give up. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because you can. Trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. Okay, I got a good one for you. Do you, especially considering how you say your mind goes, do you write more than one book at a time then? Like, you stop working on this one for a minute, work on this next one, and if you do, how do you decipher what between those what you want to do with each?
I am actually working on 3 books right now. I am working on Aadya's Battle, which is book 3. Okay. I'm working on my first standalone, and I am working on my first BDSM erotica bound.
How do you select, like, for the day? Like, you go to sit down, you say, okay, today I'm going to work on blank. And why do you pick that one for that day? Is there a specific feeling you have, or a movie you watched, or
whatever I dreamed the night before?
Off of dreams, really?
Yes. My stories come from my dreams.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't feel that I have vivid enough dreams to make that happen. Like, I'll wake up and remember a couple of things, like, whoa, that was crazy, but not enough to actually use it. The fact that you can do that, like, in a picturesque style, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's I used to hate dreaming when I was younger, because it was stories that I knew I'd never get out, but now sometimes I just want the voices to stop.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yeah, that's how I write, is with my dreams.
Okay. I seen a question. This is one thing I wanted to add to the podcast. I think this is a good one. I seen a question earlier today that asked, what are your thoughts on writing in past and present day in the same chapter, the same book? Do you agree with that, disagree with that, and why?
Wholeheartedly agree with it, because I do it in the books that I do now.
Okay.
To be able to do that, you have to make sure you have a good scene split. You have to make sure
Can you explain scene split?
Okay. Like, when Temperance is starting on her journey in book 1, she's going to Maya. Woodland fairy gave her a compass. It's not like any regular compass, but it's a compass that'll direct her towards people that'll help her.
Okay.
In the first place she goes to is this little homey, cabiny looking cabin, hotel type thing. It's called the Bird's Nest.
Okay.
And when she goes in there, she meets this wonderful, sweet old lady named Betsy. And she asks Betsy, you know, have you seen my sisters? They look like me. We're triplets. The only thing different is because our hair and our eyes. But we look exactly like. And the little old lady kind of smiles and says, no, sweetheart, I haven't seen them. But then she goes up and she goes in her room and she sees a painting that's of a vision she had when, like, earlier in the book, when she read a scroll and it took her back to the memories of what happened, of how she got to Eden. She sees the picture of the Black Panther attacking her father, and the goddesses three holding up orbs of white light, and the three babies disappearing. And underneath it, the plaque says, the curse of Aadya.
Oh, wow.
So then she goes down, starts talking to Miss Betsy, and come to find out, Miss Betsy's been cloaked. It's actually her aunt.
Okay.
And as they start traveling, it's like an immediate scene split. It goes, I kind of did it to where it's going into a story, but it jumps you back hundreds and hundreds of years of when her father and her uncle, which is one of the evil villains in this book, of their starting out. So yes, I do jump timelines. It's just that you just got to make sure you have a good scene split. And like with me, to make my scene splits noticeable, I put a symbol in between the paragraphs of where the scene is splitting.
Okay.
So you know that it's a break in the story,
right,
and it's changing.
Makes sense. Okay. What are your thoughts on somebody that is writing, like switching from an old genre and from a new genre? How to? I'm trying to think of this to answer this, to ask this question the right way. How can you help somebody transfer from one genre to writing in another genre and doing it the correct way? Is there any advice you can give? Like, okay, stop thinking about that line of thought. Like, because I'm kind of actually in that situation myself a little bit, where I kind of want to go back to my old style, but I'm trying to stick to this. Is there any advice you can give to help that along for people?
What helps with me is, like, my go-to favorite genre that I love to read, dark fantasy, paranormal romance. That's what kind of author I am. Now, with me going with my other pen name, to get in the mindset of that, so I don't want to fall back on that, I will go read a couple books in the other genre. Get my mind, my gears thinking about that. That way my own thoughts and ideas come in. Like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Let's go sit down and write this book.
Oh, okay. Or even maybe like a movie in that genre that would kind of give you a visual.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. At this time, I haven't done this yet, but I think this would actually be cool to add to the podcast, because I basically threw all my questions here, and seems like we had a great podcast. Is there any of your books that you would like to bring out, showcase, or tell anybody about your Instagram information, anywhere to buy your books, your Amazon? Do you have any of that information you can present?
Yes, I actually do. Would you please go get my books?
You could show the covers, the front and back. You can tell the description, where people can find them, because let's say people really love this podcast and say, hey, she was really cool. I really like what she's writing about. Seems like she's fantastic. It'd be great to have it right there. Like, this is this book. This is what it looks like. You know what I mean? Right.
Well, if you look behind me, that is my trilogy right there. And that in the plaque.
This so left, top, and right.
Okay.
So purple, pink, blue.
Book one, purple. Purple, pink, blue. This is book one.
Okay. Aadya's Curse. I remember seeing that one online somewhere.
This is
Returning
book two.
This to Aadya.
This book is the one that made it to rank 3. Oh,
wow. Why do you think that one made it and the first one didn't? Just because it's the continuance?
It's a lot more action-packed. When I did the rewrite, there wasn't much I could do to rewrite book 1 without completely changing book 2.
Oh,
So
okay.
I added scenes to book 1, and book 2 had already been far better than book 1 when I first published it.
Why do
I
you think that is? Just because you learned better about the process throughout writing and whatever,
yes,
more research?
yes.
Okay.
And the blue one is the third one that's coming out. That is Aadya's Battle.
Apparently, you already have the cover done for that then?
Yes, like I
That's
said,
pretty
Twisted
cool.
Wolf graphics. I absolutely love them. And
I'm gonna look
this,
into them.
huh?
I'll look into them.
Yeah, they're amazing. And this is my magazine spread when I was in Crimson Raven.
Oh, wow.
I've been in Crimson Raven, and I've been in Tegrify twice.
Okay. Are those like publications for authors?
Authors, small businesses, anything.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
Another thing I suggest to authors: make sure you. How do I want to put this to where I don't sound? Make sure you research who you're working with.
Okay.
I go with Twisted Wolf Graphics as for marketing, all my web design, my marketing on my books. But I go with Spring's Pretty Things to
So it's
create.
more than just a graphics company then, obviously.
Yes, and
Okay.
I go with Spring's Pretty Things for all my basically author swag.
Okay.
She does my bookmarks, my little giveaways that I put in my author boxes. She creates tumblers for me, t-shirts. She does it all.
Wow, that's really cool.
So yeah.
Really cool. Well, I think we had a great podcast. I think it was fantastic. It was really nice meeting you. I will have this episode spun down by the end of tonight, and I will send you the link.
Awesome. I plan
Awesome.
on posting it on all my social media.
Absolutely. And like I said in the last one, I don't know if you like watched the whole thing through. What one of the things that I would like to do is like a mashup. Did you see anything about that? Like we actually think that's a pretty good idea. Maybe you would like to be a part of that, like to do another podcast in the future. By mashup, what I mean is like we'll have one genre here, like you with your dark fantasy, and we'll have another genre over here, another version of fantasy, and you guys can go head to head and say why you think your genre is better. What are the differences between them so people can learn that aspect of it? What do you think of that idea?
Absolutely. Absolutely 100% I'm in.
It sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
Sounds cool.
Almost like a game show for authors or something like that, you know?
Yeah. That sounds cool.
All right, cool. I will definitely add you to the list for that then. I already have your contact information anyways.
Sounds awesome.
All right. Thank you very much, Leigh. I'll send this out to you as soon as I get it done.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Yep. You too.